Major playoff update for Broncos country from our friends over at ESPN. So, according to our guy Ian Rappaport, the Denver Broncos can easily and absolutely clinch a playoff berth this coming week against the Green Bay Packers. Welcome in, Broncos country, to the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. And like I said, Rap Sheet, he never lies to us. He did say that the playoff clinching scenarios are officially here. The Broncos, Patriots, and Rams, if they all win, they are all in. But I think every single Broncos fan, including myself, knows it's not about getting to the playoffs. It's about that number one overall seed. We'll touch on all of that coming up here just a little bit. First things first, though, sharing is caring, so you got to help us out. If you want this channel to grow and get more Broncos fans on the streams for our watch parties, for our videos, etc., send this to a huge Broncos fan that you know that has never seen a Broncos Breakdown episode. Just click that little share icon and send that link off in a text, in an email, however you send your news. I think the easiest solution here is that the Broncos have to win. What's that old phrase? Keep it simple, stupid. All you got to do is beat Green Bay, and you are officially in the playoffs. That's the good news. Win, and you're in. And I don't think that changes from here on out. So all technically the Broncos have to do is win one more game this season, and they are officially in the playoffs. But I think every single Broncos fan, like I just said, including myself, knows that getting to the playoffs is not the bar of success. We have tasted what success is. It's the top of the AFC. It is the number one overall seed. You know it. I know it. Sean Payton knows it. Every single player in that locker room knows it. We are not playing for the playoffs. We are playing for the number one overall seed. We are playing for a deep playoff run and then a Lombardi trophy at the very end of the 2025 season. So no longer is the bar just getting back to the playoffs. This team is way too talented to just be a playoff team. The number one seed scenarios, though, by the way, are pretty simple as well. To get the number one overall seed, the first thing you have to do, or out of all these three things that could happen, is, like I said, keep it simple. Just win the rest of your games. If you do that, you totally will. If you end up with a better conference record than the New England Patriots, you will also get the number one overall seed. And with the common opponents so far, the Broncos have already clinched that because the Patriots, they lost to the Raiders week one. I get it. It's week one, but it is still funny to think about. So all you really have to do is win the rest of your games or have a better conference record than the New England Patriots, and we already have the common opponents locked up. The Broncos odds, by the way, provided by New York Times to make the playoffs is pretty much guaranteed, a 99% chance to make the playoffs. To win the division, 87%. It's a little bit lower. The Chargers still have a chance to win the division if everything goes their way. But to get the number one overall seed plus the bye is 40%. Now, that's where it becomes a little bit more challenging because it's not just at that point only up to you. I mean, it is winning all of your games, but New England also has a factor in that as well. Speaking of the Chargers, as I previously mentioned, Yahoo Sports talked a little bit about the Broncos seeding outcomes. Here's what they had to say. Los Angeles would take the tiebreaker over the Denver Broncos if teams ended up tied. So essentially, if the Chargers come out and win out and the Broncos somehow drop a couple of games and they end up as a tie, the Chargers would own the tiebreaker. The Chargers won the first team's matchup back in week 3 this season and have a better division record. 4-0 compared to the Denver Broncos 3-1. That's where that kind of little caveat comes in. With only 2 division games left for either team, including a head-to-head matchup, there is no scenario in which teams can end up with a tie atop of the division where they split the head-to-head matchups, the first tiebreaker, and Denver has an equal or better record in the AFC West, yada, yada, yada. Here's what you need to know, essentially. Chargers play the Chiefs. Never once have I said on this channel, we are rooting for the Chiefs to win. Kind of when they played the Colts, but now I'm telling you, you want the Chiefs to win this game. You do. Because the Chiefs can only get a wild card position. There is almost 0% chance that they can get the top of the division. In fact, I'm almost positive that they can't anymore. I'd have to go back and double check the math. But now is the only time that you will ever hear me say, I want the Chiefs to win. Do not like the Chiefs whatsoever. But in order to keep the Chargers at bay, the Chiefs have to beat them this coming week. So before I continue on with the rest of the episode, I'm going to ask you really quick, what percentage chance do you give the Broncos for getting the number 1 overall seed? Scale that for me 1 to 100%, with 100% being they're going to get it, it's guaranteed, it's locked, and 1% being like there's no shot. Right now, I'm going to say it's probably 60-40 in the Denver Broncos' favor. Right now, maybe 70-30. Obviously, you have to keep an eye on the New England Patriots. But we're not going to talk about the Patriots. I don't want them to live rent-free in our heads. Coming up, though, what we are going to talk about is what I like to call the wide receiver that is taking over the Denver Broncos offense, specifically with the last 7 weeks and his target share and his role in this offense and how it has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. Before we do that, got to tell you about our friends over at Ethos. Look, marriage is definitely something I didn't think it would be. You stop thinking about yourself only. You start thinking about the loved ones in your life, your family. Life insurance is one of the most important decisions and investments you can make in your family. And now with Ethos, you can get covered and protected in minutes with rates at less than $23 a month. Ethos is an online platform that makes getting life insurance fast and easy to protect your family's future in minutes, not months. Ethos is revolutionizing the insurance industry with a 100% online process and can provide protection for you and your loved ones in as little as 10 minutes. They've got no medical exams. Just a few easy health questions online is all you have to answer. It is 100% online and hassle-free, making that process easy to apply. You can get same-day coverage without ever leaving your house. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. All of that in the comments and description of today's video. It's Pat Bryant, in case you were wondering. I know that there's a lot of people that want to heavily invest into Marvin Mims, and Troy Franklin has definitely taken that massive step to where he's earned that role in this Broncos offense. But I think the sleeper candidate, the guy that is the sleeping giant just ready to be awakened, is Pat Bryant. And the reason I say that is because there's more and more comparisons to one wide receiver that Sean Payton drafted back in 2016 when he was with the New Orleans Saints. But let's start with what Heavy on Sports said about Pat Bryant. This is actually an article written for Heavy on Broncos. In the first 6 games of the season, this is important, Bryant had just 4 catches for 40 yards on 6 targets. In the last 7 games, he has 18 receptions for 265 yards and a touchdown on 31 targets. Pat Bryant has now seemingly over the last 3 weeks become the second option for Bo Nix. He is taking over at an increased snap count over some other wide receivers, including Troy Franklin. We are seeing the trust factor from Sean Payton increase. It feels like the coaching staff trusts Bryant, and that trust between him and Nix continues to flourish. I don't think it needs to be said. Pat Bryant, at some point, for Bo Nix, if this continues, will be your number 2 behind Courtland Sutton. And like I said, I think he's just ready to explode. So I decided to go back and look at the last 7 games. 36 targets, 22 receptions, 1 touchdown with an average of 13.9. So we'll round out. 14 yards per reception. This guy is unbelievable in the intermediate passing game, which is going to be key not only for the remainder of his career, but for the playoffs as well. Because of the weather factor, because of the playoff implications, because of the atmosphere that you're going to be playing in. Pat Bryant fits the mold of something that Sean Payton wants to go to in the most important moments. But like I said, there's a true comparison between him and Michael Thomas. And while he's not quite Michael Thomas, Bryant looks more and more like him each and every single day. And I went back and I said, okay, we should do a side-by-side comparison of Michael Thomas's rookie season and Pat Bryant's rookie season. Now, the numbers are going to slaughter Pat Bryant's. Why are you showing me this, Moose? Because the important distinction to note here is this. Michael Thomas in 2016 was the number one option. He was the team's Courtland Sutton. Pat Bryant is easily the third or the fourth option on this team behind Troy Franklin and Marvin Mims. And yet, we are still seeing the comparisons to Michael Thomas in their games, in their ability to run the same routes. This is what you could get eventually out of Pat Bryant. 1,000 yards, 8 to 9 touchdowns. If you had Courtland Sutton and Pat Bryant essentially giving you the same amount of productivity, you are a scary offense, not just a good offense or on paper good offense. That is a scary offense from start to finish. Don't even get me started on what Troy Franklin and Marvin Mims could do. Troy Franklin's easily the best route runner on this team. Doesn't have the best hands. Marvin Mims is the ultimate gadget player. I mean, you continue to let me know here what you see from the Broncos wide receiver depth chart. And Trent Sherfield's no longer on the team, so I have to update that depth chart. But you get my point. This helps the intermediate passing game. That's what this wide receiver can add for this team. Everybody and their mother knows the deep threat that Marvin Mims gives you and that Troy Franklin can give you is not what Pat Bryant is going to give you. But he can move the chains. That's the most important thing, specifically when you get into the playoffs. And speaking of the playoffs, 365 days a year of nonstop Denver Broncos coverage. So if you haven't done so already before we round out today's episode, hit subscribe and type me if you made it to the very end of the video. It just lets me know that we've got new Broncos fans that are joining our channel each and every single day. My name is Moose, in case this is the first time you came across us. A mile-high salute. Back with more stuff later on today. Be cool.